Singapore is forging ahead to position itself as a global financial hub. Now, up to 5 new digital banking licenses available to non-banking players will be issued by the central bank to meet emerging trends in the industry. MAS Chairman Tharman Shanmugaratnam announced this at a banking association dinner tonight, and he said it's a major step in opening up the banking sector. Cheryl Lin is standing by at Raffles City Convention Centre. Good evening, Cheryl. Tell us more about these digital banking licenses that are going to be issued.
That's right. So the Monetary Authority of Singapore will be giving out up to 5 digital banking licenses. And these licenses will allow firms with non-banking parentage, for example, if they're from tech or e-commerce, to set up online-only banks, meaning that they don't have physical branches or ATMs. It's all completely online. Now, out of the 5 licenses to be given out, up to 2 will be digital full bank licenses, and up to 3 will be digital wholesale banking ones. Now, there's a big difference between the two, and that's in the kind of banking activities that they're allowed to carry out. So as the name implies, for the full digital bank licenses, they're allowed to carry out a wide range of activities, including taking deposits from retail customers. Now, that's not the case for the wholesale banking licenses, which can only serve small and medium enterprises and corporate segments. So you can't touch retail customers with that. Now, there's also a difference in who can apply exactly for these licenses. So for the full banking license, it's for companies headquartered in Singapore and also controlled by a Singaporean. But for wholesale bank licenses, it's open to both local and foreign players. Now, this idea of digital banking licenses is not new. For example, they already exist in Europe, the US, China, South Korea, Japan, and most recently, just a few months ago, in Hong Kong. And there are already 8 such licenses in Hong Kong. Nevertheless, this is being described as one of the biggest moves to liberalize the financial sector in many years. And Mr. Tharman emphasized the importance of this liberalization and also creating more competition in Singapore's financial sector. Have a listen.
Competition between new and traditional players, between new business models and traditional business models, and between different ways of using technology to serve businesses and individual customers better. We must also retain strong local anchors and retain trust in the banking system. These dual objectives have guided our past liberalization initiatives, and they motivate our next moves.
Cheryl, we know the details now, but I think the question that people are wondering is, how is this going to benefit us?
Well, I mean, first of all, it could mean a lot more diversity and choice in your banking systems with all these new players possibly entering the market. I mean, that could also mean a lot more convenience for you, because all these digital banking platforms, they'll all be online, so they're available 24/7. You'll no longer have to go to the bank and queue up during those restrictive hours during your work day. And they could also serve traditionally underserved segments. So, for example, young or small and medium enterprises who usually, or who may have trouble, assessing their credit worthiness, or with the trouble with the credit gaps. Now, experts also say that it could translate to lower costs for customers, because all these online banking platforms have very low overhead, so they don't have a physical space. They'll also require less manpower, and in turn that translates into lower costs, lower fees, possibly for customers as well. Now, because they also have all their operations online, they have access to a lot more data, and it allows for more automated processes, and they can also analyze all this data to sort of give you more personalized banking and how you would like it. Now, MAS says that applications are open in August, but as we understand it, there are already multiple interested parties who would like a stake in this. So we'll have to see until then how it plays out.
All right, thanks for that, Cheryl. Cheryl Lin there reporting live for us from Raffles City.
Most of us might be familiar with online banking, but digital banks, well, they're different. They don't need any physical infrastructure to function. Now, that means all banking processes are completely digital.
Now, from those at the front end, like opening an account, to accounting and administration at the back end, such banks may be set up by non-banking companies and not just existing traditional banks.
Now, amid this emerging business model, Asian regulators have issued virtual or digital bank licenses. 8 of these were issued in Hong Kong this year, while Malaysia plans to publish guidelines by the end of the year.
They'll ensure that digital banks are subject to the same rules as traditional ones. And analysts say digital banking licenses here could serve as a sandbox to test the market. They could identify unmet needs and determine if banking services become cheaper and more efficient.
Some experts say that payment firms, crowdfunders and institutional investors are likely to be interested in such licenses. It could give them greater access to the region and new funding sources, as well as allow them to offer more services to their customers.
But experts say risks remain. Regulators and players will have to keep an eye on data security, money laundering and terrorism financing.